Aloha, Richard Halverson here. This is ITS 128, and in this video I'd like to explain the final project. So if we go look at our Laulima website, if you look at the syllabus, you may notice I just changed the moving too fast here. I changed the final coding project. I was going to make it be a project that involved chapters 10 and 11. You notice that chapters 10 and 11 don't have any quizzes and they don't have any projects at the end. But instead, what I'm going to do is come up with the extra credit. I promised some extra credit. I'll come up with some extra credit for 10 and 11, which makes it optional. And I've chosen a different final coding project, which is basically multi-dimensional lists and strings. And it's kind of an interesting project. If you click on assignments over here on the left in Laulima, you'll see that I've added final project. And if you click on it, let's see, here it is. It's due the beginning of finals week, and it's a DNA project. It's a DNA analysis project, and this assignment was adapted from a submission from a couple of guys here from Harvard at this computer science and education conference, which is going to happen in the spring. And one of the submissions was I was a reviewer for this conference, among many reviewers, and I was given this assignment similar to this one. I've adapted it a little bit and made it a little less complicated, but basically I thought it was a great assignment. It's going to get accepted, I'm quite sure. The last time I looked, it was accepted, and it's actually the way criminologists and do DNA profiling, or they have some DNA from a criminal, and they have a DNA database of people or whatever, and they're able to match up the DNA and figure out who it belongs to. So the way DNA works is you've probably seen the pictures. It's a double helix, and it's a sequence of molecules called nucleotides. And for example, each nucleotide of DNA contains one of 4 different bases. It's this thing that starts base that starts with an A, starts with a C, starts with a G, and starts with a T. And these are strung together to create these short tandem repeats. And so now these short tandem repeats are they're sequences of these bases, these DNA bases that tend to be repeated back to back, and the length, the maximum length, STR length of the repeat varies a lot among people. So it varies so much that the combination you can be pretty sure with enough comparisons that you actually have matched the DNA to the person. And so, for example, in this example, we see that Alice has this AGAT short tandem repeat. It repeats 4 times, and for Bob it repeats 5 times. And if you add all these up, you can the probability that two people have the same number of repeats for a single one is 5%. But if you take 10 different ones and you match up all those, and that's 5% times 5% times 5% times 5%, 10 times, and you end up with a one in quadrillion chance that two people have the same matching sequence length for 10 different STRs. So and you can read more about it if you want to look at this FBI database, but we're gonna do a reduced problem here. In a regular larger problem, we may see DNA sequences that are thousands of base bases long, STRs, but in this example we're going to do a shortened one, and if your program works for this shortened one, then there's no reason why it shouldn't work for a longer one. See if I have an example here of a typical sequence in the larger problem. The database, an example database might look like this, where we've got these people, and Andrew's AGAT C repeats 35 times, whereas with Athena it's only 18, whereas with Brian it's only 20, and so on. And we might be looking to match a sequence that looks like this. This is a very long sequence. But what we're going to do is just to get our program running here, and maybe next semester we'll go on to handling a larger problem like this. We are given 4 sequences, 4 DNA sequences, and we're given this DNA database, and we're supposed to match up. Our program is supposed to match up each person with their sequence. And in fact, I give you the answers here. This is Alice's sequence, this is Bob's sequence, and this is Charlie's sequence, and this sequence doesn't match anybody. So what we're doing here is for Alice, we should find this AGAT. We should find 5 AGATs in a row, and 2 ATGs in a row, and 8 TATCs in a row, and then we know it's Alice. And the numbers for Bob are different. So the way maybe you can see this better is I'm going to do a Control F here, and I'm going to get my search box down here, and first I'm going to search for AGAT. So if I click the down arrow, there's 1 for Alice, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then that's it. So that's Alice's 5, and we see for Bob it is there should be 3 of them, so that's 1, 2, 3, and then that's it. For Charlie, it's going to be 6 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think. And this is not this is a shorter sequence. This is just a sequence of 2, 3, but that's it, right? Yeah, but the 6 is the number, and that's this number. It's the longest sequence. And similarly for AATG, if we put AATG here, and we're looking for this one, there should be 2 for Alice, 7 for Bob, and 1 for Charlie. And so it's 1, 2 for Alice, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for Charlie, for Bob, and then just 1 for Charlie, and then this one. It's okay. So your program should first of all initialize these 2 list arrays, and then your program should ask for a DNA sequence, and when you input this DNA sequence, it should output this is Alice's DNA. And when you input this DNA sequence, it should output this is Bob's DNA. And when you input this one, it should say Charlie's. And when you input this one, it should not match with anybody. And so that's what the final project is. And so I'm not going to help you too much. I'll help you a little bit, but I really would like you to, you know, work on this. You know, try to figure out how to do it. I'll give you some hints in a future video. But so that's the final project. One more thing I'd like to show you, and that is if you go back to the assignments, and let's see, let me click here, go back to assignments up here. I added another assignment here, which I call makeup quizzes. And what this is for is if you took some quizzes and you didn't get all the points, that means you got no points for a question. If you would like to submit again one more time, and I will grade it manually, and I will also give you partial points. And so there can be many reasons why you don't get all the points, and they could be profoundly misunderstanding reasons, or they can be just because you didn't have the indentation correct, and or you may not have written quite the right words for the output or whatever, and in those cases you would certainly deserve some partial credit. So I'm not able to turn them back on again and let you retake them. So instead, on this assignment here, this is called the Makeup Quizzes assignment. You can go ahead and submit them, attach them, and you can do something like attach. Let's see, do I have an example here? Let me see if I have an example. This is 128. Let me go to like chapter 3, and let's see. Do I have something that's got? Okay, so here's an example here would be a solution to chapter 5 quizzes, all the chapter 5 quizzes, and there was okay, now these are my notes, and so you certainly didn't get zeros. You certainly would not have gotten zeros on all the chapter 5 quizzes, but you may have gotten zeros on some of the questions. Like this first one here would be the first quiz. It looks like there were six questions. 6 questions in the first quiz. Quiz 5.2, and so you can create a document like this that's got your answers to whatever quiz questions you want me to regrade and to look at, and you can just submit that as an attachment here. You can submit as many as you want. You can group them up by chapter or group them up by quiz or whatever you want to do, and attach them here. And then in this submission box here, I'd like you to write down saying, I'm attaching, I have attached new answers for, and then you can like list the quizzes. Okay, and then I will look at those and give you one last chance. And so I'm going to do. I'm going to look at all these after like finals week. You should be all done with everything by around the first or the second day of finals week, and that would be the handing in of your final project. and then your makeup quizzes too. I'm gonna need time to grade all of your final projects and to grade all of your makeup quizzes, and so that's why I need to have them not at the end of finals week, but at the beginning of finals week. So I have finals week to grade, and our grades are due, I believe, the Monday, December 23rd or something, which is the Monday after finals week, and so and that's a pretty hard deadline at KCC. So I've explained the final project, and I've explained how you can submit one final submission for makeup quizzes that you were not able to complete uh, with given the 3 chances you have in Revel, and that way you can at least get some points for those. And so I will be finishing the projects in chapter 8, and then there are the quizzes and projects in chapter 9, and then that'll be it. You'll have everything. There won't be anything due out of chapters 10 and 11, and so there will be an extra credit project from those 2 chapters. But other than that, once you're done with the final project and chapters 8 and 9, then you'll be pretty much done with the class. So more later. Thanks for watching.